Raji.
I'm Gashu Wilson. And I'm Tiffany Nelson.
Welcome to the video, The Future of Soccer, a complete analysis by Coach Pendie on a better way of playing the game of soccer. We all know that the game of soccer suffers from a shortage of goals, and this is because of limited movement. But Coach Pendie is here today to show us how unlimited movement can be stimulated, hence bringing about an increment in the number of goals.
We all know that change is the only constant thing in life, and this is change about to hit the football game. When I first heard about the ideas of Coach Pendie, I was a little bit skeptical. We are going to be proving to you that 80% of the 17 laws governing the soccer game are wrong. Why? Because they are based on inequality and they do not encourage unlimited movement, but rather limited movement.
The future of soccer. The video, The Future of Soccer, is all about a new and better way to play soccer created by Coach Pendie following his 10 years of research in his quest to fully exploit the beauty soccer has to offer. Coach Pendie believes the governing body of soccer has not been able to bring out the complete beauty of the game. This can be proven in the very low goal rates in the game. It is not the nature of soccer or the fault of the players or coaches that result to the very low goals in soccer, but the poor design of the game, which can be seen in the mistakes made by the governing body of soccer in the creation of its 17 laws. These laws have failed to bring out the complete potential of the game, and this video is all about exposing these mistakes, which are over 80% of the 17 laws, and also show to the world the true beauty of soccer. In 1879, Walter Camp had the same dream to create a sport that would be different from both soccer and rugby, and he came out with one of the best sports in the world called American football. Today, Coach Pendie, following the same dream as Walter Camp, has created a new and better way to play soccer, which will not only increase the number of goals, but also increase employment. What we have to understand is the fact that it is the duty of the governing body of soccer to create laws which will define the atmosphere of the game. So, it is the duty of the governing body of soccer to create an atmosphere for movement, while the players use this movement as a solution for goals. But the governing body of soccer has failed to create this atmosphere for movement, and as a result, movement is being created by the players themselves. And because they are selfish, they tend to limit movement to satisfy their selfish objectives, which happens to destroy the beauty of the game. Soccer is based on endless movement, so a limitation of movement is a limitation to the beauty of the sport. Movement is a solution for goals, so a team defending could limit their movement to prevent goals in what we call today parking of the bus. When you park a bus, then the bus stops to move. The governing body of soccer has the power to force teams to move under the power of equality, as we shall see in my videos, but they have failed to exploit this power.
Once more, my name is Gashu Wilson, and we'll be continuing the presentation on how we could stimulate movement in the game of soccer. In the last video, we spoke about the absence of goals in the game, and we attributed its root cause to the problem of movement. We spoke about unlimited movement and limited movement, and we said we were going to speak about how we could stimulate this unlimited movement in the game of soccer. Right here, as we have on the board, movement, we have unlimited movement this way, unlimited movement that way. Now let's start with unlimited movement first. Now unlimited movement can best be described with movement around the circle. Why? Because we all know that movement around the circle is endless and limitless. Now Coach Pendie is not really interested in the shape of the circle in itself, but he's interested in the power behind the circle that makes movement around it endless and limitless. It is nothing else but the power of equality. Now let's look at this circle keenly. We realize that we have point C, point A, and point B. Now movement is affected by three main factors: distance, angle, and timing. Now looking at this circle, let's assume point C to be the central point. A movement from point C to point A is going to cover the same distance from point C to point B. Thus movement on the circle is not affected by distance. The time needed to leave from point C to point A is the same time needed to leave from point C to point B. Therefore, movement on the circle is not affected by timing, and neither it is also by angle. Now, the power behind the circle is the power of equality. Another perfect example would be these mobile phones I have in my hand. They are rectangular in shape, but they are all subject to the power of the circle, which is equality. Why do I say so? Mobile phone, movement phone, cellular phone, cell phone, circular phone. Now you could receive a call on your mobile phone from any part of the world, from any angle in your house, and anywhere. Movement and distance is not a barrier with the mobile phone. Now one of the sports over time which have respected the laws of the circle and thus the laws of equality, which I respect so much, is the sport of basketball. You will notice that the end point of a basketball is circular, and there is more movement and therefore more goals in a basketball game. Now the absence of equality in the game of football has led to nothing else but limited movement over the past decades. Limited movement can best be described by movement along a straight line, as we could see here. Why? Because movement along a straight line starts at a particular point, which is at the beginning of the line, and ends at the end point of the line. Now let's assume that we still had point C, point A, and point B right here. Now the movement along the straight line is based on nothing else but inequality. Why do I say so? Remember, I said movement is affected by three main factors: distance, angle, and timing. Now let's look at this. A movement from point C to point A is not going to be the same movement from point C to point B. Distance, the time needed to leave from point C to point A is not the same time needed to leave from point C to point B. Thus, inequality and the angles are different. Now a perfect example on this other hand would be a fixed phone. Fixed phone, unmovable phone. Now when you have a fixed phone, you need to be in a particular area of the house to pick up a call. That makes that area of the house more important than another area, contrary to the mobile phone. Now movement along the circle and along the line are not affected because they all cover up the same surface area. Now let's look at this. The circle covers up this surface area. You place a line in the middle, it still covers up the same surface area. Now movement around this circle is going to be endless and limitless, while movement along the line will begin at one point and end at another point. As I earlier said, Coach Pendie is not interested in the shape of this, but in the power behind it. Now you realize that around the 90s, there was a movement from the fixed phone to the mobile phone. That was the beginning of something great that we all have to understand: the power of equality. There was not just a movement from a fixed phone to a mobile phone, there was a movement from inequality to equality. There was a movement from limited movement to unlimited movement. And right now, Coach Pendie Ernest is trying to introduce unlimited movement in the game of football. There is about to be a movement, and this is so because it is the duty of the governing body of soccer to create an atmosphere of movement in the game and not the players themselves. We are going to be proving to you how 80% of the 17 laws, as we said, governing the soccer body are wrong. Why? Because law is based on equality. Law is based on equity, and where there is no equity, there is no law actually. So thank you.
Let us put equality to test to see if it is responsible for unlimited movement in respect to soccer. From the video, we can see that the absence of equality is a limitation of movement, as both teams don't have the same number of players on either side. The team moving the ball is of higher number than the team going after the ball. Because of this inequality, the team moving the ball can pass the ball from one player to the other without movement of the players. As you can see, they are therefore almost in a fixed position while they are moving the ball from one player to the other. In soccer, it is a taboo for the ball to move from one player to another without the movement of the player, as movement should be the only solution for the movement of the ball. But in this example, it is possible because of the absence of equality, so the team with a higher number of players are using the numerical advantage as a solution for the movement of the ball instead of movement of the players. Hence, movement is deemed as not being needed. You may think it's just a training session, but this happens constantly in the actual game of soccer. It becomes impossible for the players moving the ball from one player to the other to do so without having to move themselves. Movement here is the only solution for the movement of the ball, as there is no numerical advantage of one team over the other. What I want you to know is the fact that the players are forced to move under the power of equality, as it is the only solution for the movement of the ball. So, movement of the players is not by choice, but by force. When you talk of a law, what do you think of? Equality for sure. If equality can generate unlimited movement, then the 17 laws of soccer, which are supposed to be based on equality, should stimulate unlimited movement. And hence the reason why I say the laws of the game are responsible for movement and not the players. The end point of soccer is a straight line, while that of basketball a circle. Soccer by nature is a sport bound by limitations, and the governing body failed to destroy these limitations. Coach Pendie was kind of interested about the knowledge behind a circle to make movement around it endless, and he found out that a circle is governed by the power of equality. When you look at a circle, you look at equality. Equality is the force behind endless movement. A law is supposed to be based on equality. Hence, the reason why I say the 17 laws which govern soccer are supposed to define an atmosphere for movement. But the 17 laws are far from equality, and as a result, they do not have the power to force players to move. Equality does not give choice a chance, and where there is equality, it means force and not an option. When two or more things are equal, choosing one is the same as choosing the other. Hence, you don't actually have a choice or option. A sport like basketball is based on equality, and that is why you will see a team in basketball choosing between scoring and defending, as the probability to score is the same as the probability to defend. Hence, every team playing basketball are forced to attack when they have the ball and forced to defend when they don't have the ball under equality. You will never see a team in a sport like basketball playing defensive all through the game because they do not have that power to choose. But in a sport like soccer, a team can come into the match and choose to defend from the start to the end of the game, simply because the game is not based on equality, as the probability to defend is higher than the probability to attack in the ratio 90:10. Hence, the teams do have that power to choose. Coach Pendie's videos are all about reconstructing the game of soccer from the scratch, that is, from the first law to the 17th. A sport like indoor soccer tried to increase movement by reducing the size of the pitch, but failed to realize that one can increase movement without necessarily reducing the size of the pitch. The game has to be free for entertainment to be free.
Talking about the circle and equality, which is the power behind it, we are going to be showing you how we use straight lines, that is a ruler and a pen, to draw a circle. Why? Because we respected the power of equality, which is the power behind the circle. The diagram you see here, circle inside the square shape, was drawn using just a pen and a ruler, and we'll be showing you how we did to draw this diagram.
It's not necessary you should a person talk.
Now, as you can see, he's drawing a perfect square. All sides of this square are equal. Here again, we get equality. This is a vivid illustration how we could use a straight line to draw a circle, because we respect the power behind the circle, which is the power of equality. Now he's divided the square into 4 equal parts. As you can see, still equality comes in. 4 equal parts. That's 4 squares. be vigilant and observe how he's going to be using only straight lines to draw the circle based on the power of equality. Now you can see the first curve of the shared circle is already represented using only a pen and a straight line. Remember, the square in itself was divided into 4 equal parts. This can only be possible if we respect the power behind the circle, which is the power of equality. See that he's clearly forming a circle using just a ruler and a pen, basically straight lines. Perfectly describing the power behind the circle, which is the power of equality. The circle is about to be complete. Remember, it was a square in the beginning, which was divided into 4 equal sides, 4 equal angles. And using just a pen and a ruler, which is a straight line, he succeeded to draw a circle. This could only be possible because he respected the power behind the circle, which is the power of equality. There you go. You have a perfect circle. Now this is exactly what Coach Pendie wants to bring into the game of soccer. As we earlier said, he's not interested in the shape of the circle in itself, but the power behind the circle, which is nothing else but the power of equality.